My glasses are smaller of the two black boxes.
Thank you for your patience, folks. Welcome to Breakaway 2019. We're going to kick off the day. So we are running a little bit behind schedule, as you can see, so we're just going to kind of go with it, and we'll keep you updated as far as everything. But at this time, what I'd like to do is introduce our guests. And first, I'm going to start with Yasko Nagazumi, who played the character of Yasko in Year 2, Space 1999. Yasko? Okay. Next, I would like to introduce Suzanne Heimer-Peterson. And next, I would like to introduce Mr. Anton Phillips. And next, Mr. Nick Tate. And lastly, I have the honor of introducing our main guest of honor here today, Miss Barbara Bain.
She thought it was funny.
Hi, everybody.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Barbara. Happy birthday to you.
It's really too early in the morning to start. Thank you. It's unbelievable. But thank you very much. I'll try to collect myself and behave. Okay, can we hear, please?
I'm going to be sitting.
Oh, okay.
So what I thought we would do is just open this up for Q&A for this morning. And
Oh.
we're going to be doing this. But before we do that, do you
Yeah.
have any reports that you'd like to say to the group?
I'm overwhelmed. I couldn't not come. Probably some of you know that I'm not really happy in an airplane. It's my least favorite place in the universe. That or an elevator, take your pick. So I've wended my way across the world, up back stairs of I can't tell you how many interesting places. And if I could have walked here, I would have taken me a couple of weeks, but it would have been worth it. But bottom line, I couldn't not come. There's been such a dedication to this show, and there's something so special about the kind of work we do, which is a bit odd to start with. The fact that something you've done as long ago as this particular project still has resonance, and people care about it. And you kind of don't know that while you're doing it. Pardon the expression, I'm sure you know that most actors are fairly self-involved.
Really?
There's actually a good reason for it. You have to be in order to draw out of yourself into what you're doing. But because of it, you're kind of doing that and then putting it into a role. And then suddenly, as the years go by, you look up and there are all these people out front who've been affected or seen your work and care about it, and that's extraordinary. So thank you for being here.
Nick?
Yeah, we kind of forget about something that happened 46 years ago. We started in November of 1973, Space 1999. It didn't hit American television until 1975. So we've been working on it for nearly 2 years. And in fact, the week we finished was the first week that Space 1999 was ever seen. Usually when shows are running, they have a few episodes in hand and then they start showing them. But for one reason or another, the show wasn't shown until, I think, March of 95. And that was the week we finished. 75. Oh. Yeah, you know, and I married my wife the year after Space finished in 77, and we've been married for 42 years. You forget, although you can't forget the love, you do forget the love, because it's when my wife said to me, why do these people want to see you after 40 years?
One might ask.
Yeah, that's because it's me. My wife, no, I adore my wife. She's fantastic. Can you imagine putting up with me? But then you come back here and just like Barbara said, the dedication, the love that pours out of you people, it is really, it's extraordinary. And how could we not want to have a bit of that? You know, because you come back and go, oh my God. You know, I got to tell my wife there's all these people that actually really do love me. You know? And it's just so dear. And I don't want to get soppy about it, but it is. It's just so lovely to see the genuine thrill that you get out of seeing us, and in turn, it's absolutely mutual. You go, oh my God, it's fabulous. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What he said. I guess Nick and Barbara have said it. I can't improve on what they have said. What I will say is that both Suzanne and myself have been in touch with Clifton. I mean, he's very, very disappointed not to be here because he was looking forward to it, and in preparation for it, he went on holiday. He wanted to get relaxed and lie in the sun, so he went to Corfu, one of the Greek islands, and took ill. And you were in touch with him first.
He called me.
Microphone is on there.
Yeah, he called me one evening, and I missed the call, and suddenly he left me a message, but he forgot to switch the phone off, which he does. And I could hear him speaking to a doctor. And anyway, I eventually got hold of him, what happened was he collapsed. And he was taken into hospital, and he's got quite a few problems. Fortunately, he is back in London now, and under the care of the
Yes, because they wouldn't allow him to fly.
he was not allowed to fly, and that's one of the reasons why he couldn't come, because they wouldn't allow him, his lungs and everything. But he was very, very disappointed, very disappointed. So, yeah.
As are we that he's not here, seriously. I haven't seen Clifton, I think possibly the same for most of I haven't seen him for 42 years. It's actually longer. So I was so excited about seeing Clifton. Really.
I actually found him. I found him. Where was he? I found him through Quentin Perry.
One of the guards,
Yeah.
Quentin, you remember Quentin, big,
Yeah.
big strong guy?
Yeah. And I speak to him one day, and he said, I know where he is. A friend of mine's, he knows him well. And then we got together, and I had lunch with Quentin and Clifton in London last October, and I've been in contact with him. But he's a loner.
And Suzanne then contacted me to say
Yes.
she'd been in touch. So then I made contact with Clifton, and yeah, we've been meeting fairly regularly since, in a pub over several times. And I mean, he seems to be in really good shape. So it was really quite a shock when this happened.
Yeah.
I mean, he is old. I mean, he's in his 80s.
None of your vocabulary. Can't have it.
It just shows you the stuff that actors are made out of. How ageless we are, no matter how.
See, but we too, like you, we remember each other from that series, as you remember us from that series. And all my memories of Clifton, obviously, are from 42 years ago. And it was staggering to see the pictures of these guys, because they sent them to me, having found him. And to see this grey, big, woolly old bear of a man, you know, that's Clifton, my God, I can't wait to see him. I'm so disappointed.
And also, I spoke to Prentice, and he sends his love to everybody, and he's got other commitments, that's why he couldn't come. So, sorry about that.
How is his health?
It's okay.
Yeah? But is he allowed to fly?
He can fly, yeah, he can fly, but he had another commitment this week.
I had heard he'd gotten a job. If he gets a job, we celebrate.
Prentice flies with oxygen.
Yeah, he does.
Seriously, he is.
He's only got half one lung.
Oh, really?
He always used to smoke during the breaks in Space 19. I was warning you.
Yes.
I must say, I am so honored to be able to be here, thanks to you people. And Roy, thank you so much for contacting me. And it was just really, really accidental, because you contacted me after all, only 3 weeks ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I knew nothing about this convention. Yes, because to tell you the truth, I was fortunately casted for Space 1999 when I lived in London. The thing is, I never went to England from Japan to become an actress. I had no idea I would finish up in London working as an actress, because I went to England because I studied English literature at the university in Japan, in Tokyo. So it all happened by accident. and it looks as if my life is nothing but accident. So honored, and then that lots of the things since I arrived here, even Roy, lots of the things which happened 40 odd years ago started coming back to my head because I had no idea what this convention is about or anything. I see all your people, and I realized, my God, I even didn't know Space 1999 was shown in America. I was never dedicated to become an actress. So being an actress was a way of making a living for me, to take care of myself and my daughter. And then because I have been a single mother, so the acting is just a way of making day-to-day life. So I really forgotten about all the things happened to me during the Space 1999. Although I remember very vividly Barbara and that Martin, because that eventually I married to one of the directors who did the Space 1999, Ray Austin, and then Ray and Martin worked together for North by Northwest years before.
North by Northwest.
North by Northwest, because he was a stuntman for Perry Grant.
No,
Yeah, and that's why suddenly everything started to and now I am here looking at all you people. You know, attending this convention. Thank you so much.
What we're going to do is just open it up for Q&A for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to have an announcement after that. So if I could just go around questions.
Yeah, just as long as you're all here, I wanted to let you know it's not only just kind of interesting that we're all here for the show, but I want to let you guys know that, talk about by accident, I went to the first 1999 convention in 1978, bumped into somebody, made a friendship, and it has led to my career today, where I've got patents and some other things and some software. But I want to let you know, it was all because of the show you guys worked on that led to a bunch of friendships that have lasted, what, 42, 45 years, and have gone on to this day and really made impacts on people's lives. So just to let you know how great it is this show exists.
Hi, first of all, thank you all for being here, and thank you for the wonderful journey that was Space 1999 and all your wonderful performances in that series that really made us dream way back when, and still does now. My question is when did you start realizing that the series was not going away, that it was continuing on and its popularity was gaining with the years? And what was your first, your best fan interaction that you had throughout the years?
Did you get all that?
No. I have no idea. There were two parts of that question, and I didn't understand either.
Well, the first
Or maybe I didn't hear it.
When did you first recognize that,
What?
that this series was going to have this kind of a longevity of following?
Well, you don't think about that at all. As such, when did I don't know. I can't tell you. First of all, I could never be a witness at any trial. Because I have no concept of time. Never have had. I have to ask one of my kids when something happened. And when they weren't around, I had no one to ask. Therefore, I can't pin it. I'm not good at when. I do know when we made this, kind of, was in the 70s in London, and that was some time ago. If I sit down and count it, it takes a while, and maybe I'll come up. So I can't answer the first one. Maybe you can.
I got invited to a science fiction convention, which was basically a Star Trek convention. And there was a group of Breakaway people, some of whom may be here today, who was there, who had discovered Space 1999. And they kind of were not the enemy, but they were another faction. Most of the people there were Star Trek people. And the fact that this other bunch of people there had invited me was staggering, you know. And I flew over to New York, and I'd never been to a science fiction convention in my life. And then I started to see the power of that, and the questions and the faces of the people that were coming at me. And I thought, wow, this is what Star Trek experiences. Star Trek had been off the air for 7 or 8 years by then, but it had this enormous following. And I thought, well, maybe this is going to happen. I hoped it would. And in many ways, it has gone beyond what I thought and hoped. And in many ways, it hasn't gone as far as it might have, because so many of us believed that this series really was going to be even more successful than Star Trek. And as I said, we worked on it for a whole nearly 18 months before it ever came out and we got any kind of reaction to it. So the stars were the great possibility, or nothingness was the other. It is neither of those things, but somewhere in between has been this wonderful kind of longing for more from us. From everybody, from our side and from your side.
Well, I guess the the first one I went to was in Pennsylvania, I think.
Isn't that where we are? See, now geographically, I'm not in it.
So we've sort of come full circle.
Pittsburgh, 79.
LA.
Pittsburgh, 79.
Pittsburgh, right, yes. And I mean, it's the first convention of any sort I'd ever been to. And that came as a big shock to think that, you know, people are just, you know, regarding me as the way when I looked at the movies and saw big names, people up there, wow, and people are having this reaction to me, and I was really floored, and I still am. You don't get it in England.
I think that, I'm sorry. Please.
So even today, I think, wow, it's still going after all this time, and I'm just surprised at how many of you there are here today, because you expect a dwindling number, but actually, there's more here today, I think, than there was at the last one.
I think so. Yeah. Yes.
I think
it's
so terribly trying to interrupt him. I do not. Oh, you finally realize I drink. But it occurred to me, somebody told me we were in 180 countries, and at the time I didn't know there were. That's the first time I had a sense of its size. If that answers any of this. And I'm terribly sorry I interrupted. Is there a second part to the question? Or did I hear 2 parts for no reason?
What was your favorite fan experience? What was a good fan experience? Is that right?
Yeah. What was your favorite fan experience?
Your favorite fan experience?
Good Lord.
No, don't tell that one.
I'll tell you what is. I'll tell you what the whole thing is that stuns me and moves me, is how you guys have kept touch with each other. I had no idea about that. I hadn't a clue that you guys kept touch with each other, and people knew when somebody was sick or somebody had a baby, or this one who just met knew that one's father died. I didn't know that. That's extraordinary that a show, or some of us who happened to be on that show, had some effect that people connected all over those 180 countries, we're back to that, had some caring for each other through caring about a television show. I find that extraordinary.
What might be quite interesting is if we could have a show of hands from people who've come from different countries today.
What a great idea.
There's Canada, I think. And there's Italy.
Australia. You need Bonza, Sheila.
Who else is there?
Germany.
Germany,
Keep your hand up.
England,
Ireland.
Denmark.
Wow. Any other countries?
Pennsylvania, sometimes it feels like
New York!
California.
Alabama. Ah, Donald Trump's favorite place.
So yes, because I mean, some parts of America are as far as some of the countries in Europe to get here as well. So again, you know, shout out your state.
West Virginia.
Florida.
Colorado.
Oregon.
South Carolina.
Wow.
Tennessee.
What do you say?
Massachusetts.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Wisconsin.
Ah, the Midwest, where I grew up.
Really?
Should have been called the Mideast. I never understood. It's closer there than there. So why was it the Midwest? Will somebody tell me ever? We just accept it. Pardon me?
Because it was west of east.
West of the East Coast, where we live.
Okay. And it rains a lot.
It all depends on where the person is speaking from.
Which side of the elephant he's discovered, right, exactly. Okay, thank you. Now I understand my heritage.
I stood in for Barbara. I worked on 2 series,
Yeah?
wasn't it? 2 series.
3 years.
What?
3 years.
3 years, yeah. I worked there every day, except for the days off. And yeah, it was fun. And it's nice that because and I haven't seen Barbara since the last 40 odd years.
Yes, you keep track of the time.
And obviously seeing Nick, and I'm in contact with Clifton and Suzanne Roquette, who unfortunately I'm bearer of bad news, she's not very well. So we get together and they come to my house for lunch or whatever. So we see each other, don't we? And chat on the phone. Yeah. So yeah, and it was fun. It was
Including
fun.
Prentice as well.
Yeah, Prentice as well. Yeah. Yeah.
The thing about Susan is that usually on a production, if you are lucky enough to have a stand-in, the stand-ins are usually very, very quiet people who... And we loved her, you know, she was a real personality on the set. I don't know how I feel about her now. No, she was great, always has been, and she has a great right to be here, because she probably knows more stories about us than we know about each other.
She does.
Just listening to what you said, Nick and Barbara, I realized I was such an unprofessional. When I hardly had any recollection, but now it's coming back slowly. You know, and it amazes me because I am originally from Japan.
No.
Wow!
Japan is such a small country, and when I moved to California 42 years ago, I moved to California, and then I realized Japan is even smaller than the size of California. And then you people are coming from all over the world, and also even just in America. Each time I go to other state from California, I realize America is that every state is like a one country. It's so different. And that really, really interests me because Japan, being such a small country, it's totally unified. Things happening in Tokyo is happening exactly in Kyushu, which is, you know, a few hundred miles away. And so that amazes me, and that's why I'm just so surprised that lots of people come to this convention from all over, even from United States. And that's why I'm really, really honored to be invited to attend this show. And I really have to thank you guys remembering the show. And then I try to remember more what I went through. But something started to come back again, finally. Because when I was in that few weeks ago, when Roy contacted me, I tried to remember what I really did. Now it's all coming back, and thanks to you. And then obviously that the time I was in the show was a very, very important chapter of my life, which I didn't realize until today.
You know, you bring with you a lot of perception of life when you come from one place or another. As I said, we were rained on and snowed on in Chicago, and that was part of life. Living in England was a cupcake compared to Chicago. But the difference, and it's kind of interesting, you brought it up to me, when you grow up in the Midwest, Mid-East, whatever you want to call it, that's not going to work. Anyway, you have this sense that the country's so big you could stretch out your arms forever and never touch water. Then you move to England and you think you better keep your elbows in. Because there's water right on this side and this side. It's the strangest sense when you come from the middle of such a big country to stick your hands out. Whoa! It's very, very different, and it has, I'm sure, I don't know how many other people have that picture in their mind to keep your elbows. Because you're going to get your hands wet. Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
Never mind.
I just went back to England. My wife has a large family over there, and there was like 56 people at this family reunion, and she's got a brother and a sister and then aunties, and they've all had 4 or 5 children each, and just so many people there, and the husbands and wives as well. And we had to drive from London to the Cotswolds, and we had the reunion in the Cotswolds, and then we drove from the Cotswolds up to Ilkley, north of Leeds, and spent a couple of weeks up there. And then my wife went to Scotland and walked across to John O'Groats, and I went up to Scotland to St Andrews, where my sister is working at the St Andrews Golf Club. But I was trying. I don't want to contradict you because I know how.
Never touch water.
I know how big America is. It's staggeringly big. You drive for days and days and days through the most extraordinary countryside. Just even coming from the airport to here. But the drive through the Cotswolds up to Leeds and on, mile upon mile upon mile of the most wonderful English countryside. I didn't go on the freeways there. We went through country roads, and it just reminded me how, because I spent 25 years in England from the time I was 1965 until 1985. That was only 20 years, but I've since been back to England many times. So I've had 25 years in Australia, 25 years in England, and 25 years in America.
Well done.
Yeah. But England is, for all that, there's so much countryside there. You think, wow, you can't believe how big that little country is and how beautiful it is.
You know, Barry Morris brought in a headline from his youth, though Barry was raised in Canada and then in England, to explain the Brits to us.